The date was November 24th, 1971, a Wednesday. Portland International Airport was buzzing with the frantic energy of Thanksgiving travelers. Rain lashed against the terminal windows. Among the crowd, one man stood out by not standing at all. He called himself Dan Cooper. He was wearing a dark suit, a crisp white shirt, and a black tie held by a mother-of-pearl clip. He looked like an executive, a man of business. He bought a one-way ticket to Seattle for $20, cash. He boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 and took seat 18C. He ordered a bourbon and soda. He smoked a Raleigh cigarette. He looked perfectly calm, but in his hand, he held a black briefcase. And inside that briefcase was something that would change shortly after takeoff. Cooper handed a note to Florence Schaffner, a young flight attendant. She assumed it was a phone number and dropped it into her purse. Cooper leaned in, his voice low and cold. He said, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note demanded $200,000 in $20 bills on 4 parachutes. Florence was led to the back of the plane. Cooper opened his case just enough for her to see 8 red cylinders attached to wires and a large battery. There was no panic, no screaming, just a cold, calculated transaction. Cooper wasn't a typical hijacker. He was a professional. As the plane circled Seattle, the FBI was racing against time to find the cash and the chutes before the fuel ran out. 5:45 p.m., Flight 305 landed at SeaTac Airport. Cooper kept the passengers in the dark, literally. He ordered the cabin lights dimmed to prevent snipers from getting a clear shot. The deal was made. The FBI delivered a knapsack filled with $10,000 $20 bills and 4 parachutes. Cooper allowed all 36 passengers to walk free. He even ordered food for the remaining crew. He was polite, almost gentlemanly, but as the fuel trucks finished their work, Cooper gave the pilots a new destination, Mexico City, and he had one very specific, very strange instruction. He wanted the plane to fly as slow. A warning light flickered in the cockpit. The aft stairs had been lowered. Cooper was standing on those stairs, facing a 200-mile-per-hour wind, freezing rain, and pitch black darkness. He didn't hesitate. With 20 pounds of cash strapped to his body and a parachute on his back, he stepped off into the abyss. He plummeted into the rugged, pine-covered wilderness of southwest Washington. Dan Cooper had vanished into thin air. The search began at dawn. The FBI, the Coast Guard, and the Army, everyone was looking for a ghost. They focused on the rugged terrain of southwest Washington, acres of thick, tangled forest, mountains covered in snow. They looked for a man in the dark suit, but they found nothing. No parachute canopy caught in the trees, no body shattered on the ground. It was as if Dan Cooper had simply dissolved into the rain. For years, the only evidence the FBI had was a black clip-on tie and a cigarette butt. The trail had gone cold. I've fast forward 9 years. February 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram is playing on a beach along the Columbia River, a place called Tina Bar. As he digs into the sand to build a fire, he finds something strange. 3 bundles of rotting cash, nearly $6,000. The serial numbers matched Cooper's ransom money. The mystery exploded back to life. How did the money get there? Did Cooper die in the river? Or did he bury the cash as a decoy? The FBI went back to the river. They searched the sand for months, but the rest of the $200,000 was never found. Over the decades, the FBI investigated over 1,000 suspects. Some were professional skydivers. Others were war heroes with a grudge. There was Richard McCoy, who hijacked a plane just months later using the exact same method. There was Robert Rackstraw, a genius pilot with a mysterious past. When asked if he was Cooper, Rackstraw would only smile and say, "I'm not saying I am, and I'm not saying I'm not." But the evidence never quite fit. DNA from the tie didn't match the suspects. Fingerprints didn't match. Every time the FBI thought they had him, the shadow of D.B. Cooper slipped away. In recent years, the case took a scientific turn. Researchers using electron microscopes found something on Cooper's tie: rare particles of titanium and specialized chemicals used in the aerospace industry. This changed everything. It meant Cooper wasn't just a random thief. He likely worked at a high-tech lab, or for a company like Boeing. He was an insider, a man who knew the planes and knew the system. But even with science on their side, the man behind the tie remained a phantom. In July 2016, the FBI made a shocking announcement. After 45 years, they were officially closing the case of D.B. Cooper. They hadn't caught him. They hadn't found him. They simply ran out of leads. They moved the files to the archives, leaving the mystery to the citizen sleuths. Thousands of people around the world continue to search, but the government has officially given up. So, who was Dan Cooper? Was he a master criminal who lived a life of luxury? Or did he perish in the cold, dark woods of Washington? Maybe it doesn't matter anymore. D.B. Cooper has become a part of American folklore. He represents the ultimate escape, the man who challenged the sky and won. Somewhere out there, in the shadows of the Pacific Northwest, the answer is waiting. But for now, the skyjacked ghost remains free.